Tonight, we're following several developing stories as we come on the air. Severe storms sweep across the Northeast. The president's crackdowns in Chicago and Boston, and Russia launches its biggest attack yet on Ukraine. We begin with those powerful storms. A possible tornado strikes Massachusetts. Families sheltering in their basements emerge to see the damage while wildfires burn in the west. Fall-like temperatures in many parts of the country this week, and the outlook as we head into the peak of hurricane season. Our weather team is covering it all. The Trump administration launches a new immigration crackdown in Boston, promising to go after the worst of the worst. In Chicago, thousands protest mass deportations. The governor of Illinois accuses President Trump of threatening to go to war with Chicago. Ukraine under attack as Russia launches its largest aerial assault yet with more than 800 drones and decoys. The government headquarters set on fire. Ukraine's president tells our Martha Raddatz what he wants from Western allies. Also tonight, a quickly moving fire spreads to 4 commercial buildings in Minneapolis where fire crews face multiple obstacles as they fight the flames. The fight over a home run ball that went viral. A woman demands a dad give her the ball, and how his young son came out the winner in all this. Tonight, a major break after police say a couple's gift box was stolen as hundreds celebrated at the wedding reception. Sinner versus Alcaraz, the epic meeting of the world's top tennis players. Aryna Sabalenka celebrates her repeat win, the latest from the U.S. Open. The long Powerball drought comes to an end after 3 months without a winner, and not one but 2 winners emerge in the $1.8 billion jackpot, where they were sold and what each winner could take home in a lump sum payment. And the Catholic Church has its first millennial saint as Pope Leo canonizes a teenager who was known as God's influencer.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. The immigration crackdown raids are now underway in Boston, and protests erupt in Chicago as the city braces for a surge in enforcement operations. We asked the president why he's not targeting Republican-led cities that have higher crime rates. But we begin tonight with a severe storm sweeping across the Northeast. This time-lapse video captured the strong winds and heavy rain that battered parts of Massachusetts. This drone video reveals the devastation and destruction across the central part of the state where a tornado may have touched down. And this security camera shows the moment a tree fell on a home in Glen Rock, New Jersey. And the wildfires raging in the west. One fire scorching more than 60 square miles in Fresno County, California, captured on time-lapse video overnight. Our weather team is tracking it all. But first, Reena Roy leads us off.
Tonight, parts of the Northeast cleaning up after severe storms rocked the region. Heavy rain and high winds pummeling millions. In central Massachusetts, families in Holden racing for cover. The National Weather Service issuing a tornado warning.
You just picked up the kids and I was like getting in the basement, and then after everything, I waited like 5-10 minutes. Came up and then just saw the damage everywhere.
Trees falling onto homes.
See how you go from this red color to this bright greenish yellow? That is indicating debris being lofted into the air by this thunderstorm.
In Glen Rock, New Jersey, a doorbell camera capturing the moment this tree came crashing down. In New York City, people sheltering inside this park underpass as the storm raged on. As the Northeast clears out, a thunderstorm in Jacksonville, Florida, interrupting the Jaguars game against the Carolina Panthers for more than an hour. In the west, the pyrite fire breaking out late Friday east of Los Angeles, now scorching more than 500 acres in Riverside County. Nearly 300 firefighters building containment lines and patrolling for hotspots. And in Central California, where lightning sparked the massive TCU September Lightning Complex fire nearly a week ago, more than 2,000 personnel battling the blaze that's destroyed at least 95 structures and scorched more than 20 square miles. Crews now reinforcing control lines and mopping up remaining hotspots. And Lindsay, the National Weather Service says they'll be surveying that storm damage in central Massachusetts tomorrow to determine whether a tornado touched down there. Lindsay?
Fortunately, no injuries there. Reena, thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our New York station WABC. Hi, Danny. When can we expect that big cool down in the Northeast?
It's on the way. That cooler air moving in as we speak, Lindsay. Behind the front that brought those severe storms, the front now moving offshore, but keeping the chance for showers in play for coastal New England through this evening before drying out overnight. Then our attention turns to the temperature with a real fall feel to start the work week. The cooler air in the Midwest this weekend shifting to the Northeast, capping highs in the 70s from Philadelphia to Boston. Turning now to the tropics, the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season is this Wednesday, but for now it's all quiet in the Atlantic basin while Hurricane Kiko turns in the Pacific. The track shows the weakening trend continuing as Kiko passes north of the islands Tuesday and Wednesday. Main impacts will be rough surf, rip currents, and big waves through the majority of the week. Lindsay?
We know you'll be keeping an eye on it. Danny, thank you. Next tonight, an immigration crackdown is now underway in Boston. The so-called Patriot 2.0 is targeting the, quote, worst of the worst in the state and across the region. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selina Wang.
Tonight, President Trump escalating his threats to surge federal law enforcement in American cities. Immigration raids now underway in Boston. The Department of Homeland Security telling ABC News that ICE launched Patriot 2.0 to target the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens living in the state of Massachusetts. The president drawing outrage from leaders in Chicago after threatening the city with the prospect of war, a reference to his executive order rebranding the Department of Defense the Department of War.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go.
Chicago now bracing for the arrival of federal troops any day now.
Absolutely. You can expect action in most sanctuary cities across the country.
And today, Trump defending his message.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities.
As scores of Americans marched through D.C. streets over the weekend, protesting the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops in the nation's capital. I pressed the president on why he's targeting Democratic strongholds like Boston and Chicago.
Mr. President, why target Chicago and Boston when there are cities in red states with higher crime rates?
Yeah. Really higher than Chicago?
There are, like Memphis and St. Louis.
Excuse me. You know how many people were killed in Chicago last weekend? 8. You think there's worse than that? I don't think so.
But FBI statistics show otherwise. The red state cities of Memphis and St. Louis have significantly higher murder rates than both Boston and Chicago.
And Lizzie, this comes as South Korea has reached a deal with the U.S. to release more than 300 workers who were detained during an immigration raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia last week. That operation rattled a close U.S. ally, but plans are now underway to fly them home on a chartered flight. Lindsay?
Selina Wang from the White House for us. Selina, thank you. Let's bring in ABC's Matt Rivers on the ground in Chicago tonight. Matt, give us a sense of what the mood is like in the city.
Yeah, Lindsay, no question things are tense across the city of Chicago as the president spent the weekend zeroing in on the city's issues with crime and also with illegal immigration. The president saying today that crime is out of control in this city and it will take federal help to clean it up, even though FBI statistics show that crime is down in Chicago this year. Over the weekend, posting a manipulated image on social media, playing off a famous line from the movie Apocalypse Now, saying, quote, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." Speaking at the White House today, he once again said that murder and crime in general is out of control in the city. And here in Chicago, protests over the weekend against any sort of federal incursion in the city. So far, it is calm across the city. We're not seeing a ramp up of federal authorities of any kind. But here in heavily Latino neighborhoods, like here in Little Village, the trepidation is palpable. A lot of people just choosing to stay home this weekend, Lindsay, rather than go out and risk arrest. Lindsay.
We hope things stay calm, Matt. Thank you. Overseas now to the war in Ukraine, and Russia launching its largest ever aerial assault. More than 800 drones were fired overnight. The deadly attack damaged a key government building in Kyiv. Plumes of smoke filled the sky. ABC's chief global affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is in Ukraine. She interviewed Ukraine's President Zelenskyy right before the latest attack.
Overnight, Russia launching the largest aerial assault on Ukraine since the war began, sending more than 800 drones and 13 cruise missiles across the country. Sirens blaring, residents running for cover, the attacks leaving at least 8 civilians dead and 59 injured. This woman saying she and her husband hid in the bathroom as their home was shaken by explosions. In the capital city of Kyiv, the main government building on fire. The Ukrainian Prime Minister posting this video in the aftermath, saying it looks like Russia is not seeking peace. The conflict now in its fourth year dragging on as a political solution remains out of reach. President Trump has continued to push for peace talks, so far unsuccessfully, between Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelenskyy. I spoke with Zelenskyy just days before this latest Russian offensive. He called on the United States and Europe to do more to end the war.
We all understand that we need additional pressure on Putin. We need pressure from the United States. And I said that I think that President Trump is right about that. Europeans, I'm very thankful to all the partners, but some of them, they continue buy oil and Russian gas, and this is not fair.
As for a face-to-face meeting with Putin, Zelenskyy says he is open to the possibility, but not on Putin's terms. He said he will meet if you come to Moscow.
He can come to Kyiv.
And Lindsay, President Trump telling reporters today he's ready to move forward with the second phase of sanctions against Russia, but it's still unclear what those could be or when they might be put in place. Lindsay?
Martha Raddatz for us in Ukraine. Thank you. Next tonight, a drone attack by Houthi rebels in Yemen breached Israel's air defenses, striking an airport that temporarily shut down commercial airspace and halted flights in southern Israel. This just days after Israeli strikes in Yemen killed the Houthi prime minister and other cabinet officials. Meanwhile, Israeli forces are expanding their operations in Gaza City. A strike destroyed several buildings across the city. Now to that epic battle at the U.S. Open in New York. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik facing off in the men's final. And there was more than just the championship on the line. President Trump among those watching the drama and action play out in Queens. ABC's Olivia Rubin is there.
It was a battle between two tennis heavyweights. Tonight, Jannik and Carlos Alcaraz squaring off in the U.S. Open final. The two going back and forth for hours, trading big serves, drop shots, and long rallies, bringing the crowd to its feet. It's the third time both have met in a Grand Slam final this season. This time, it's Alcaraz on top, winning his second U.S. Open title.
So I wanted to say thank you, my team. I'm really lucky to have part of my family here as well.
President Trump attending the high-stakes match, receiving a mixed reaction from the crowd, some cheering, some even booing. The arrival triggering heightened security, long lines, and scores of frustrated fans. The match delayed 30 minutes. When the match did start, top-ranked Jannik and Carlos Alcaraz putting on a show.
And there it is, Aryna Sabalenka.
Just 24 hours ago, Aryna Sabalenka celebrating in Arthur Ashe after defeating American Amanda Anisimova, repeating as U.S. Open champion.
Well, I love this place. I love the support. I love the atmosphere.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming out and supporting me at my home slam all of the 2 weeks.
This marks the second time Alcaraz has won it all here at the U.S. Open, and with that win, he now reclaims the world #1 ranking. Lindsay.
What a match. Olivia, thank you. Overseas now to a historic day at the Vatican. Pope Leo announcing 2 new saints, including the first millennial. The 15-year-old who died from leukemia in 2006 is also known as God's influencer. His mother and family among the thousands watching it all in St. Peter's Square. And what she's telling us tonight about her son. Here's ABC's Inez de la Cuetada.
These are the images of saints we're used to seeing, but tonight something new. Jeans and sneakers depicting Carlo Acutis, now the first millennial saint. More than 80,000 people packing St. Peter's Square on Sunday as Pope Leo XIV presided over his canonization, together with that of Pier Giorgio Frassati, who died in 1925. Born in 1991, Carlo was a devout Catholic who taught catechism and went to Mass daily. He grew up playing video games and used his computer skills to create a website documenting what are known as Eucharistic miracles. He died suddenly from leukemia in 2006 at just 15 years old. His mom telling us his legacy lives on.
I am happy to see how through Carlo so many people is helped.
Carlo now becoming a fresh young face for the church. Officials expect 2 million people will visit his shrine in Assisi this year, where he appears to be sleeping, a silicone mask in his likeness covering his face.
He's a great example of how young people, teenagers, can get to be saints.
And as Pope Leo ramps up his outreach to young people, this weekend over 1,400 Catholics participated in the first officially recognized LGBTQ pilgrimage to Rome and the Vatican. Pope Leo did not attend, but had indicated support for the event. Lindsay?
Carlo's memory will live on. Inez, thank you. Back here in the U.S., police are searching for a suspect after a deadly mass shooting at a sports bar northeast of Houston. One person is dead and at least 5 others injured. Police say the suspect was inside the bar drinking, left, and allegedly returned, opening fire on customers in the patio area. The suspect is believed to have acted alone. There's much more ahead here on World News Tonight this Sunday, including the battle over a baseball that went viral, how a young child emerged as the winner. And crews had to fight flames and numerous obstacles when a fast-moving fire tore through several buildings. Next tonight, a fast-moving fire in Minneapolis spread to 4 commercial buildings overnight. Fire officials say crews faced a number of obstacles in fighting the fire, including locked gates, power lines, and empty fire hydrants. Some of the buildings have partially collapsed. No injuries have been reported, and the cause is under investigation. 2 men have been arrested in connection to the theft of a gift box at a wedding in Southern California. As the bride and groom celebrated with 300 guests last Sunday, security cameras captured a man running off with their gift box. The couple believes at least $60,000 in cash and checks were inside that box. After getting a lot of tips, Glendale police made the 2 arrests and say that they recovered at least some of the wedding money. In Oregon, this bizarre story. Police in Clackamas County arrested a man last week for allegedly living inside the crawl space of someone's condominium. Investigators say it appears he lived there for an extended period and outfitted the space with lights, chargers, and a TV. The suspect faces several charges, including burglary. When we come back, the Powerball winners and where those tickets were sold. To the index now, and after a 3-month dry streak, we have 2 Powerball winners. One ticket was sold in Missouri, the other at a gas station in Fredericksburg, Texas, about 80 miles west of Austin. The jackpot was nearly $1.8 billion, the game's second largest. If they choose the lump sum payment, each would get about $410 million before taxes. Next, the confrontation at a ballpark that went viral. The Phillies' Harrison Bader hitting a home run Friday in Miami, followed by a scramble for the ball. A man grabbed it and gave it to his son. Not so fast. Another fan claimed he'd swiped it from her, so he handed it over. The news spread quickly. Bader presented young Lincoln Feltwell with a signed bat. The family reportedly received other offers, including World Series tickets. And Pro Football Hall of Famer Randy Moss was back on ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown today. Moss stepped away last year as he battled a rare cancer of the bile duct. He told Robin Roberts on GMA the diagnosis hit him like a ton of bricks, but he relied on faith, family, football, and added one more F, what he called the fight. And when we come back, the talk every parent should be having with their child. Finally tonight, sometimes the best lessons are learned at home. 5-year-old Evie Cochran from Western Michigan is one of more than 3 million children in the U.S. starting kindergarten this year.
I need you to put your listening ears on.
But even before school started, she learned an invaluable lesson from her mother, Tara, who sat down with her to have what she calls an important talk about being respectful to others.
You're going to be starting kindergarten soon, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page about some things, okay? What are some differences that you notice about other people?
Some people are tan.
Some people are tan.
And some people are black.
Some people are black. It's really cool that there are so many different skin tones out there. Is that something to make fun of somebody about?
No.
No.
Making fun of people is not nice.
Making fun of people is not nice. It is never okay to make fun of somebody for their skin color, their height. Some people are skinny. Some people are bigger. The cool thing about being a human is that we're all different.
Tara doesn't have a formal background in childhood education, but she's motivated to have these talks and share them to help other parents, driven by her own life experiences.
I grew up in a very toxic and abusive home, and so raising my kids, it has been very important to me to be the one that breaks the cycle.
Her honest and direct conversations set an example for other parents, in addition to the next generation.
I love you.
Meaningful lesson for us all. Thanks so much for watching. David Muir right back here tomorrow. I'm Lindsay Davis. Have a great night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.